This is a tough one, as I can't tell if my mama bear instincts are taking over, but something's telling me to run for the hills on this, and everyone is telling me I'm in the wrong here. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years. I have a pre-tween son and a tween son, and he has a tween daughter and a young grammar school-age son. We just introduced all the kids about a year ago, and in recent months we've been doing weekend stays at my place. A couple of weeks ago we planned to go to the Waterpark today with all the kids. We told all the kids and they were very excited to go. I had to work for a couple of hours early this morning, so the plan was for my boyfriend to drive all the kids to the Waterpark at noon, and I would meet up with them at that time. As planned, I get to the Waterpark at noon and he only has 3 kids. My pre-tween wasn't with him. I started freaking out, asking where my son is. He tells me that my son apparently wouldn't take care of his laundry, that I did last night, so he decided that since he refused to listen to him and refused to take care of his clothes, he would not be attending the Waterpark because it's considered a treat and my son didn't earn it. He tells me that my mother has my son, she lives with me as she's elderly. I immediately tell my older son to get in my car. My boyfriend asks what I'm doing, and I say that I'm going to get my kid and that he's wrong for thinking he has any authority to punish my child. I didn't tell my son to put his clothes away, so I asked him why he thought he had the right to go on a power trip and stepped in to tell him to do anything without first discussing it with me. He starts getting irritated and tells me that I shouldn't expect him to jump on board if he has no say in how the kids are raised, and that it's important for the kids to see us working together as a team and being on the same page in the form of punishment so that hostile or resentful environments aren't created. Once again, he told me that my son did not earn his right to the Waterpark and that if he and I had already made a plan, then my son should have stepped up and said something. I told him he wasn't welcome back at our house and we were done. I then drove home, packed up all of the items that he and his children had at my home, left them at the end of the driveway and told him to come collect them before people thought it's free items. I locked the doors, told my mother not to let him in and took off with my children to a separate water park. He's blowing up my phone at this point because I'm apparently being ignorant and I'm ruining my son by making him entitled and not making him earn his way. Am I the idiot for breaking up with my boyfriend because he left my son at home as a punishment? He missed the part where you must agree to be on board together. He cannot make that decision unilaterally without discussing it with you first. He assumed and made an idiot of no one but himself. Not the idiot, Mama Bear. He also didn't deem it necessary to let her know he wasn't there, so she freaked out that her kid was missing. If it was truly the right thing in his mind, he would have given her a heads up instead of being surprised I grounded your kid because he didn't respect my authority. And when she, rightly, explained why what he did was wrong, he resorted to insults, etc., thus proving this was a power move over her as much as her son, and not a genuine attempt at joining their families together. He was testing the waters to see if he could dominate her and her kids. Answer, no. Good for her. Opie, how are you even supposed to be on the same page about something he didn't bother to inform you of? He grossly overstepped, and now he's insulting your parenting. You taught your son an important lesson. You have his back. Having your son learn that he can trust you to prioritize him over a romantic partner is probably worth the strife involved here. Good job, because you're a good mother. I, 41 male, am the oldest of 5. My sister, Vera, 31, is the 3rd child. Our parents are long dead. Now, my sister was always the quiet one. She never interacted with us much as a child. Instead, she spent most of her time in her room, reading. She barely spoke, and when she did, she had different conversation topics. She was gifted, I get it, but we were kids and got bored when she talked, so we just didn't get along. Fast forward. Vera now optimizes administrative processes for big companies. She's very authoritative, strategic, and overconfident. Even her boyfriend would not make a business or financial decision without consulting her first, because he's convinced she's the holy grail of management. I get it, she's good at what she does, has a big salary and has good connections, but she's just a bit much. One point here is that Vera is the only sibling who has no kids, and apparently her boyfriend got a vasectomy a few months ago. Good for him. The thing is, when we gather at our childhood home, all my siblings bring along their kids. Kids are kids. They're loud and like to play. They're sensitive too. Vera doesn't seem to understand this. She greets the kids from a distance, never hugs them, and if one of them comes to her, she'll keep them at arm's length. She'll be polite but way too serious and somehow cold with them. Neither my siblings nor I like this, or the way she will refuse to do uppies with the toddlers, or just refuse to play along with the older kids who want to ask questions or just talk like kids do, let alone watch the kids even for 15 minutes. I wouldn't ask more from her. Anyway, her behaviour got worse after the last family gathering. She brought her laptop because she had some work to do, and one of the kids dropped it, accidentally damaging the screen. She went totally ballistic and demanded my youngest sister, who's a single mom living on welfare at the moment, pay for the repair. After some reasoning, she dropped the subject, but then she stayed even further away from the kids. Hence, I spoke to my siblings and concluded it was best if we didn't invite her over for the next gathering, which was this weekend. I knew she would see the photos on Instagram, but I hoped she would see how her attitude had isolated her and would learn a lesson. Boy, I was wrong. She sent me a short, dead cold message asking why she wasn't invited. I told her the reason and told her we expected her to behave like a family member if she wanted to be treated like family. She responded, "Okay," and proceeded to block us everywhere. Not only her, but her boyfriend did too. Apparently she also blocked other members of our family, who proceeded to send angry audio and messages to me and my siblings about it. Am I the idiot? I just wanted to keep the kids in a friendly environment and expected her to be an adult. You are the idiot. Your list of grievances about your sister is ludicrous. No uppies, no hugs, won't watch your children for 15 minutes, overconfident. Her boyfriend seeks her advice before making financial decisions. She became upset and wanted to be compensated when a child broke her computer. She later realized her single mother welfare receiving sister couldn't pay for the damage her child caused and dropped the subject. None of these things makes her a bad person. You have to twist yourself in knots to try to frame her in a negative light. You and your siblings are ridiculous. Piggybacking to add that the misogyny and jealousy are so strong with this man. It probably eats him alive that his sister is so smart and earns significantly more than him and the rest of the family and has a male partner who supports and respects her. The audacity to come here and complain after someone's expensive personal belongings were broken and not apologize and offer to replace them immediately shows what a pathetic, rude and entitled person he is. I love that his lame attempt to control her backfired spectacularly on him. Dude, you just cut away your own blood and their partner because, you couldn't handle that someone makes other choices. As for your sister, I think she's saying, the trash took itself out. I guess she decided that if you couldn't accept her for who she is, she'd be better off without you all. My great-grandma made a baby blanket for me when my mom was pregnant. She did that for all her kids, grandkids, and then great-grandkids. I was the youngest until now. Great-grandma would make it clear to the parents involved that the baby she made the blankets for should be considered the owner, and it shouldn't be something they kept from us. So this is what always happened. I always had mine. My parents tried to take it from me a few times, but my great-grandma stepped in each and every time. I loved mine because she had started experimenting with her knitting, and my blanket was more unique than the rest and feels just a little more personal. I treasure it despite being a nearly adult age guy. I treasure it more because my great-grandma died when I was a tween and I miss her like crazy. So my parents couldn't have more kids for years. They tried for years and even did IVF when I was a pre-tween but didn't have another kid from it. Their focus was so set on that, I always felt like I wasn't good enough. This is something extended family brought to their attention a few times. It was comments like, "I just want a baby so bad, I can't imagine my life without a child," from my mom, and comments from my dad like, "We feel so incomplete without a baby," that would get family members to take notice. Those were some of the kinds of comments that left me feeling as I do. It was never another baby, it was always a baby, like I was invisible. They talked about having a baby as being their biggest dream. It stung so much to have their life focus around that, and they get so depressed about not having a baby. Great-grandma, before she died, told them to be thankful for the blessing, aka me, and how they already had a baby and they were letting me grow up without them. It didn't change anything, and I grew up basically without my parents. They have no idea who my friends are or what's going on in my life. This was a surprise pregnancy and my parents were so excited. They did all the early tests to find out they were having a girl and they started shopping for her. But then my mom got sad because great-grandma isn't around to knit her a blanket too, so they told me they wanted mine. They didn't ask, they told me. And when I said no, they grew angry. They said she deserved to have a blanket from her great-grandma and their baby needed one. I asked what I was and they said, an almost grown man. I left the blanket with my best friend because I was afraid my parents would search the house to find it. They were so angry and they started doing the guilt trips, saying my baby sister deserves better, and how can I look at myself in the mirror knowing I don't want to share this with her? They told me it's like I don't even want her to exist, or I hate her for something and she's not even born yet. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The blanket is yours. It was smart of you to give it to a friend for now. Don't give it up. It is heartwarming and it means so much to you. Also, OP, are you adopted? It might be time to find out. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's crap. You deserve better. And even if you are adopted, that's no excuse for this kind of abuse. Maybe dad isn't bio-dad. A good point. Still makes parents terrible. Every time they ask for your blanket, respond with, Mom, you have a blanket made by great-grandma that you could give to the baby, and say nothing else. Give them no other response because they seem like the type to try to twist your words. There are plenty of grown men out there who have stuffed animals or blankets from their early years. It takes a real man to acknowledge their affection for things of sentimental value. My father-in-law Paul has never cooked, cleaned or done anything for himself. When his wife, who he married as a teen, died, he became helpless. It's been 6 months and my other 2 sisters-in-law make him every meal and bring it to him. My husband and his father have a rocky relationship due to many things, but they were never close, so I was never close to Paul. My sister-in-law and his older daughter Lizzie have asked me to help with meal prep for her father because it's added stress to everyone. He's become ungrateful and complains about the food they offer or not helping him clean his house often enough. The situation has stressed my husband, who called his father pathetic for yelling at him for not having us help out more. Lizzie called me again, saying she's going on vacation and desperately needs me to help with the meal train for her father while she's gone. I told her to buy him a cookbook and show him how to turn on the stove. Lizzie called me a witch, saying Paul is a traditionalist and has never cooked for himself. I told Lizzie this would be an excellent time for Paul to learn to be a big boy. My husband took the phone from my hand and hung up on his sister. Lizzie took to Facebook, another family member showed me this, and complained about how awful some people treated their elders. She enlisted a church group to make Paul dinners and help him clean while Lizzie and her family vacation. My husband and I think his father is ridiculous because, besides being in his 70s, Paul is not disabled in any way. Am I the idiot for not cooking and cleaning for my father-in-law? My mother-in-law still cooked and cleaned while dying of cancer, so that is why my husband and I really don't care for him. Not the idiot, you're not his daughter. You owe him nothing. If his daughters want to cook for him like he's a helpless child, that's their choice and their business. It's their business if they wish to continue this misogynistic way of life. Why aren't they asking your husband to help cook? He's father-in-law's son. He's already ungrateful. This isn't your problem or responsibility to fix. I feel for those church ladies. Exactly. Lizzie found a church group to help, so the problem was solved. She agreed to take on this thankless task, so shame on her for demanding you fill in for a commitment you didn't make. I have a similar father-in-law. I don't live in the same town as him, but I get to hear all about the coercion he's tried on the one daughter who does. He has sky-high expectations about her cleaning and cooking for him and zero gratitude. He used to treat my mother-in-law terribly too, but he still uses her passing for pity points. Good for you and your husband for not buying into this. Everyone's the idiot. Lizzie calling you a witch and you remarking for him to put on his big boy pants means this is not a healthy relationship for you, the sisters, your husband, or your father-in-law. When you're at the point of feeling okay to interact like this, the relationship is over. Stop engaging if you can't help, or pay for a meal service. He'll have to work a microwave, or drop the rope. But just stop engaging in this if the 5 of you can't come up with a plan. I, male 47, have 2 stepkids, a female teen and a male tween. I've known my stepkids since they were 8 and 4. Their bio-dad hasn't been consistently around since my stepson was a baby. He pops in for a little while and then doesn't hear anything for a while. Neither calls me dad, but I've always thought we had a good relationship and I'm one of their main male role models. Now with the issue. A few months ago, my stepdaughter started wearing boxers. Just around the house, no big deal, no different than any other lounge short she owns. But in the past 2 weeks, I've noticed her leaving the house or coming home wearing the boxers. A few nights ago, I told my wife that I found it weird that she's wearing boxers out in public. My wife says it isn't a big deal. She's just a teenager going through a phase, and many kids her age choose to wear stuff like that out in public. It still bothered me. So this morning, when my stepdaughter was downstairs in boxer shorts and a t-shirt, I asked if she was going out that day. She shrugged and said probably. Why? I said, well, I think you have plenty of other short options to wear. She asked what was wrong with what she was wearing. I just said wearing boxer shorts in public makes her look stupid and that she has many other lounge shorts she could wear instead of boxers. Later, when I came home, my wife was furious, asking why I was mean to my stepdaughter. I said I didn't think I was being mean. I was being truthful that those boxers in public weren't a smart decision and she should change when going out. My wife said I was an idiot because she's just a teen girl, and as long as it wasn't inappropriate, I shouldn't have said anything. Both she and my stepdaughter haven't spoken to me. Am I the idiot? Dude, you're a 47-year-old man. You are so far removed from teenage girl fashion. As long as her friends don't think it's weird and nobody is picking on her, shut up. It doesn't have to make sense to you, so long as she's happy with it and it's not causing any problems with her social life. There's an entire world out there just waiting to tell your daughter that she's stupid and that as a woman, what she wears is critical. Don't join them. It's your job to support her, and yes, to let her make her own fashion mistakes. Be a positive voice in her life. God knows millions out there won't be. You are the idiot. Your comment was absolutely unnecessary, and no adult needs to call any child stupid. She's a teenage girl. You're an older man. She doesn't need your fashion opinions.